The simulation chamber hummed with an ominous purple glow as Instructor Vexthor's 3 eyes widened in disbelief. For 200 cycles, he had administered the Korvathi gauntlet to cadets across 17 star systems. The statistics were irrefutable, a 99% failure rate. Most species couldn't even survive the first phase. Yet there she stood, Cadet Elena Chen, human, smiling. "That's it?" she asked, brushing a strand of dark hair from her forehead. "I thought you said this was supposed to be hard." Vexthor's mandibles clicked nervously. The simulation chamber's wall still flickered with residual energy from the test that had just concluded. 7 minutes. She had completed the Korvathi gauntlet in 7 minutes. The current record, held by a Zenthari War Master, was 43 minutes, and he had lost 2 limbs in the process. "Impossible," Vexthor whispered in his native tongue, his translator chip struggling to convey his shock. "The gravitational fluctuations alone should have crushed your skeletal structure. The neural assault in Phase 3 has driven Caldronian telepaths to madness, and the temporal displacement in the final sequence—" He stopped, his breathing apparatus wheezing. "How?" Elena shrugged, stepping out of the simulation pod. "I grew up in Chicago. You ever try catching a bus in winter while dodging potholes, ice patches, and aggressive drivers? That's your Phase 1 right there." She stretched her arms. "The neural thing was just loud noises and flashing lights, right? My roommate Adam dragged me to a metal concert last month. This was actually more pleasant." "Pleasant?" Vexthor's voice rose an octave. "Yeah, at least nobody was moshing." She noticed the instructor's confused expression. "Never mind. What about the temporal thing? That was actually kind of fun, like doing a puzzle." Across the training facility, Adam Rivera watched through the observation deck, grinning as he recorded his friend's triumph on his datapad. He had completed the gauntlet yesterday in 11 minutes, and the entire Galactic Academy had gone into emergency sessions to discuss whether humans were cheating somehow. Now Elena had just shattered his record. "Humans," muttered Commander Thelrus, a towering Dreknari warrior who stood beside Adam, her scales bristling with what he had learned to recognize as confusion. "Your species has been in the Galactic Coalition for only 5 cycles. You have no enhanced biology, no telepathic abilities, no genetic modifications. Your home world is a death trap of extreme weather, tectonic instability, and predatory wildlife. By all statistical models, you should be one of the weakest species in the galaxy." Adam nodded thoughtfully. "Yeah, Earth is pretty rough. But that's kind of the point, isn't it?" "Explain." "Every other species in the Coalition evolved on worlds that were, from what I've read, relatively stable. Predictable seasons. Manageable natural disasters. You all developed technology to overcome your environmental challenges." He gestured toward the simulation chamber where Elena was now being swarmed by confused medical technicians checking for cybernetic enhancements. "We developed something else first. Adaptability." Commander Thelrus's predatory eyes narrowed. "Adaptability? We learned to survive ice ages and supervolcanoes, floods and droughts, earthquakes and hurricanes. We scattered across every climate zone on our planet, from frozen tundra to scorching deserts. We're persistently optimistic even when things are terrible." Adam's grin widened. "Your simulation? It's trying to break people with chaos and unpredictability. But chaos and unpredictability? That's just Tuesday for humans." In the simulation chamber, Vexthor was frantically running diagnostics. The system must be malfunctioning. "There is no conceivable way." "Instructor," Elena interrupted gently. "Can I ask you something? What's the purpose of this test?" Vexthor's mandibles twitched. "To identify cadets capable of surviving hostile first contact scenarios, species with unknown capabilities, unpredictable environments, temporal anomalies. The Korvathi gauntlet simulates the absolute worst-case scenario any coalition officer might face." "Right, worst-case scenario." Elena nodded slowly. "See, that's where I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding about humans. What you call worst-case scenario, we call history. Earth didn't give us any choice but to get good at this stuff." She walked over to the main console, where complex alien script displayed her performance metrics. Even without understanding the language, she could see the numbers were causing alarm. "Every species here seems to have specialized. You've got the Caldronian telepaths, the Zenthari warriors, the Velen engineers. You're all really, really good at one thing. And humans?" Vexthor asked, his voice barely a whisper. "We're pretty okay at everything. We're not the strongest or the smartest or the fastest, But we're stubborn. We adapt, we improvise. And most importantly, Elena smiled, that peculiar human expression that so many aliens found unsettling in its warmth. We don't quit. The observation deck had filled with instructors and commanders from across the academy. They watched the small human female with a mixture of fear and fascination. Adam joined Elena in the chamber, and the two humans exchanged a fist bump, another bizarre human gesture that no alien species had successfully replicated. So, Adam said, looking at the assembled alien leadership, what's next? Because if that's your hardest test, I think Elena and I are ready for something more challenging. Commander Thelris stepped forward, her massive frame towering over both humans. For a long moment she studied them with her reptilian gaze. Then something remarkable happened. Her scales shifted to a lighter shade. What Adam had learned was the Draknari expression of respect. "Welcome to the Coalition, humans," she said solemnly. "We have been waiting for a species like yours for a very long time, though we did not know it until now." Vexathor finally found his voice. "What do you mean, Commander?" "The gauntlet was never meant to be passed," Thelris explained. "It was designed to be impossible. A benchmark of absolute failure to remind us of our limitations." Her eyes gleamed. "The humans just showed us we were thinking too small." Elena and Adam exchanged glances. Somewhere in that look was the shared understanding of every human who had ever faced impossible odds and decided to try anyway. It was the same stubborn optimism that had driven their ancestors to cross oceans on wooden ships, to split atoms, to reach for the stars. "So," Elena said, that dangerous human smile spreading across her face, "about that something more challenging?" In the cycles that followed, the Galactic Coalition would learn that the human capacity for succeeding where success seemed impossible was not an anomaly. It was their baseline, and the galaxy would never be the same.